The roar had barely faded when the next surprise arrived. Alex had just clawed her way back from the brink against Australia's Maya Joint. One match earlier, the pressure had looked overwhelming. Minutes later, everything had changed. Another victory. Another step deeper into Wimbledon. Another opportunity waiting just around the corner. But none of the thousands leaving the court could have guessed that the most talked-about moment of the day wouldn't happen during a match at all. Somewhere else inside the All England club, a routine that had remained almost untouched for years was quietly being broken. No announcement. No schedule. No warning. One of the most recognizable women on earth had abandoned the script everyone expected her to follow. By sunset, she would be standing beside a 21-year-old from the Philippines whose career had suddenly become impossible to ignore. A single photograph would race across social media, outpacing countless championship highlights, leaving millions asking the same questions. Why had the Princess of Wales appeared there? Why had she stepped away from tradition? And why did this ordinary-looking encounter suddenly feel like history unfolding in real time? To understand that moment, you first have to understand how unusual the princess's decision really was. As royal patron of the All England Lawn Tennis and Croquet Club, Catherine, Princess of Wales, is one of the defining figures of every Wimbledon. Her appearances are normally predictable. The royal box. The marquee matches. Trophy presentations. Every movement carefully anticipated by broadcasters, photographers, and spectators long before she arrives. But July 2nd unfolded differently. Instead of heading toward the familiar formality of center court, she made her way to Court 1. There, she chose to watch the day's action from the stands alongside former Wimbledon champion Andy Murray and tennis official Kia Thaving. It was a subtle decision, easy to overlook, yet it quietly broke a pattern that had existed for years. From that seat, Wimbledon looked different, closer, less ceremonial. The sounds of every rally echoed more clearly. Every reaction from the crowd felt immediate instead of distant. It wasn't the view of royalty looking down on the tournament. It was the perspective of someone experiencing its rhythm from inside it. The afternoon featured British wildcard Arthur Ferry defeating Finland's Otto Virtanen. Katie Swan battled American Madison Keys. Much of the attention naturally centered on home players trying to extend their stay in the tournament. Everything about the schedule suggested another familiar Wimbledon afternoon. Until another story, unfolding several courts away, began quietly pulling the spotlight in an entirely different direction. Alex wasn't simply trying to survive another round. She was beginning to reshape the tournament itself. Against Maya Joint, the match demanded resilience before brilliance. Momentum swung. Pressure mounted. Every point carried greater weight than the last. When the comeback was finally complete, she had secured the deepest Grand Slam run of her career to that point. But the victory offered something even bigger than another place in the draw. Waiting in the next round stood defending champion Iga Swiatek. Suddenly, the tournament had found one of its most compelling storylines. The established champion. The rapidly rising challenger. A rematch filled with unfinished business. Yet before either player stepped onto center court together, fate created an entirely different scene. Somewhere between the practice courts, the walkways, and the endless movement of fans flowing through the grounds, Catherine crossed paths with Alex and Turkish player Zeynep Sönmez. There were no television crews gathering around. No podium. No official ceremony. No carefully choreographed royal introduction. Just three women whose worlds rarely intersected, meeting naturally in the middle of one of sport's most famous venues. The conversation lasted only moments. The photograph lasted forever. Its power wasn't found in dramatic gestures. It lived in its simplicity. Catherine stood wearing a sharply tailored sapphire blue double-breasted linen blazer with matching wide-leg trousers, complemented by a white off-the-shoulder knit top. The look balanced elegance with approachability, standing out beautifully against Wimbledon's unmistakable green surroundings. Beside her stood Alex and Zeynep, still dressed in the same match kits they had competed in only hours earlier. They hadn't changed. There hadn't been time. The contrast was impossible to miss. Royal tailoring beside fresh-on-court athletic gear. Protocol standing next to pure competition. And somehow, nothing about the image felt staged. That authenticity became its greatest strength. People scrolling through their phones paused. Then shared it. Then shared it again. The image spread because it looked exactly like something that couldn't have been planned. Fans noticed how relaxed everyone appeared. There was no stiffness. No forced smiles. No obvious distance between royalty and athletes. Just genuine warmth captured in a single frame. Alex later posted the photograph to her Instagram story, writing only that she felt honored to have taken a picture with Her Royal Highness. Nothing more. No dramatic caption. No attempt to inflate the moment. Ironically, that restraint made the photograph resonate even more. Across the Philippines, where Alex's Wimbledon run had already become the country's biggest sporting story of the summer, the image exploded. For many supporters, this wasn't simply a picture with a member of the royal family. It felt like another signal that something extraordinary was happening. Online, reactions moved in every direction at once. Some admired Catherine's outfit. Others compared the striking contrast between royal fashion and professional tennis apparel. Many commented on Catherine's height standing beside two elite athletes. Others revisited her long-standing relationship with tennis, including her public support for Emma Raducanu and her family's friendship with Roger Federer. But regardless of where each discussion began, nearly all of them ended in the same place. 3 women. 3 completely different journeys. One unexpectedly human moment. For Filipino fans, however, the timing carried an emotional weight that stretched far beyond the photograph itself. It appeared only 2 days before Alex's biggest match yet. A showdown with defending champion Iga Swiatek. And suddenly, what first looked like a charming encounter began to feel like the calm before a storm that almost nobody saw coming. 2 days can feel insignificant, unless those 2 days separate anonymity from history. The photograph was still making its way across the internet when Alex walked toward the biggest challenge of her career. Center Court wasn't simply another stadium. It was the stage where champions protected their legacies and rising stars often discovered just how unforgiving tennis could be. Waiting across the net stood defending Wimbledon champion Iga Swiatek. On paper, the script seemed obvious. One player had already collected 6 Grand Slam singles titles. The other was still introducing herself to millions of new fans. Experience favored one side. Expectations favored one side. Reality had other plans. Point by point, Alex refused to disappear into the occasion. Every rally carried a little more belief. Every game chipped away at certainty. The defending champion found herself under increasing pressure from a player whose confidence seemed to grow with every exchange. By the end of the afternoon, Wimbledon had its defining upset. Alex defeated Iga Swiatek, becoming the first Filipino player in the Open era to reach the second week of a Grand Slam singles tournament. The victory instantly transformed the meaning of everything that had happened only 48 hours earlier. That quiet photograph with the Princess of Wales was no longer just a pleasant off-court memory. Fans began looking back at it as though they had unknowingly witnessed the final peaceful moment before an extraordinary breakthrough changed the tournament forever. There was another layer to the victory that made it even more compelling. This wasn't the first chapter between Alex and Swiatek. The two had already built a growing rivalry. Alex earned a memorable victory over the Polish star during her breakthrough run at the Miami Open the previous year. Swiatek answered with a win at the Madrid Open 1 month later. Wimbledon became the deciding act. 1 match each. One of tennis' grandest stages. One opportunity to settle the score. When Alex emerged victorious, it wasn't simply another upset. It completed a trilogy in spectacular fashion while raising a much bigger question. Just how high could this young player climb? Only weeks earlier, Alex had largely been viewed as a promising talent steadily working her way through the rankings. Now she was defeating a defending Wimbledon champion in front of a sold-out center court crowd. The change felt almost impossible to measure because it happened so quickly. Careers usually evolve over months, sometimes years. Alex's changed within days. And Wimbledon wasn't creating the momentum. It was revealing momentum that had already been building all season. Earlier in the year, she headlined the Philippines' first-ever WTA-level tournament before an overwhelming home crowd. At the Australian Open, organizers faced criticism after fan demand for her matches exceeded the capacity of the assigned court, leaving thousands unable to get inside. The signs had been there. The audiences were growing. The attention kept multiplying. Wimbledon simply placed all of it under the brightest spotlight in tennis. Viewed through that lens, the meeting with Catherine became something larger than a royal encounter. It became another snapshot of a player whose reach was expanding faster than almost anyone expected. And perhaps the most remarkable part is that none of this requires exaggeration. No fictional conversations. No invented palace invitations. No secret ceremonies hidden from public view. The real timeline is compelling enough. A royal patron quietly changes her usual Wimbledon routine. An unscheduled meeting with two players fresh off the court. A candid photograph shared around the world. Then, only days later, one of the biggest victories of the entire championships. Sometimes reality creates better stories than fiction ever could. Looking back now, the image represents something that statistics alone never could. For Alex, it arrived during the very tournament where she was rewriting what Filipino tennis believed was possible. The Philippines has never traditionally been known as a tennis powerhouse. Basketball, boxing, and volleyball have long dominated the country's sporting conversation, while pathways into professional tennis have remained limited. Every victory Alex collected at Wimbledon challenged that history. Every match pushed those boundaries a little farther. The photograph quietly became another symbol of that journey. Not because royalty changes rankings. Not because a picture wins matches. But because recognition often arrives when the rest of the world finally begins catching up to what dedication has already built. Back home, families were waking before sunrise to watch live because of the time difference. Living rooms filled. Phones stayed open. Social media overflowed with messages of encouragement as millions followed every point. For many of those supporters, seeing Alex standing naturally beside one of the world's most recognized royal figures felt deeply personal. It confirmed something they had already started believing. Their player wasn't simply participating anymore. She belonged. The moment also reflected Catherine's own approach to Wimbledon. Her responsibilities naturally include formal appearances, trophy ceremonies, and representing the tournament as its royal patron. Yet on that July afternoon, she chose something less ceremonial. Watching from an outer court. Walking through the grounds. Sharing an unplanned moment with athletes who had only recently stepped off the court. That authenticity became part of the story itself. Perhaps that's why the photograph continues to resonate. It wasn't manufactured. It wasn't scheduled. Nobody involved appeared to realize they were creating one of the lasting images of the tournament. As Alex's career continues to climb, fans will almost certainly revisit that picture again and again. Not because it changed her destiny. Her tennis accomplished that. Instead, it captured the exact instant before the world fully understood what it was witnessing. Look at the timeline one final time. July 2nd. A spontaneous photograph with the Princess of Wales. July 4th. A historic victory over defending champion Iga Swiatek. Days later. A fourth-round battle against former Wimbledon finalist Jasmine Paolini that ended in defeat but earned Alex a standing ovation from center court. Within roughly one unforgettable week, Alex transformed from one of tennis' most exciting rising talents into one of the sport's biggest stories. The photograph simply sits at the beginning of that remarkable stretch, quietly reminding everyone how quickly history can unfold. From modest courts in Quezon City to the lawns of Wimbledon, there had never been a clear blueprint for a Filipino tennis player reaching this stage. Alex was creating one in real time. The meeting with Catherine didn't define that journey. It reflected it. Not through speeches. Not through ceremony. Not through spectacle. Just one genuine moment between three young women whose paths happened to cross during one extraordinary tournament. Years from now, when people remember the Wimbledon that introduced Alex to an even larger global audience, they'll remember the upset, the records, the standing ovation, and the remarkable rise. But they'll also remember that simple photograph. Because sometimes the smallest moments become the clearest symbols of how everything was about to change.